Good
Hi.
evening.
Yeah.
How you
Hey.
guys doing? It is Blake and Kyle again. Episode 2 of Real Estate in Different States coming at you. We're excited to bring it to you once again. If you haven't heard our podcast yet, you're in for a treat. Quick small recap, but make sure you go watch episode 1 if you're new. But basically me and Blake, we talked about our backgrounds, how we know each other. We talked about what led us to leave our careers to pursue our dreams, entrepreneurship, things like that. And we kind of talked a little bit about the future of the podcast. So, but it was, I thought it went really well for the first one. I think, hopefully we'll get a following. We'll see. But anyway, let's dive right in, not waste any time because we are on Zoom, which limits us. So we got to get to it. Ain't that right?
That's right. So let's get started. And I hope everyone likes our mics and can hear us a little bit better.
Oh, yeah, we're way more legit now, too. Check these bad boys out. All right. So we want to first question. I got a question for you, Blake. I want you to answer this for us and the viewers. So whenever you're about to leave your 9 to 5 at Community Resource, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, Community Resource. Whenever you're preparing to leave, um, is there anything you did to kind of prepare to, make the jump to go full-time mortgage, commission only?
Okay. Um, Very good question. Let's see. So honestly, I guess what I did to prepare, well, first off, as we talked about a little bit last episode, I did get my real estate license while I was still working there at the credit union. And I did do I think a handful of deals, 5 or 6 deals, while still working at the credit union. So obviously that additional commission, couple grand each deal, I just pretty much put it in the savings because it was just money that we weren't used to getting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that definitely helps for sure, which obviously everyone won't have, but my wife was being a teacher or having a job, um, was obviously still having that income coming in from somewhere, and her having insurance for her and the kids helped out a lot. But I don't know if anyone actually has looked, but if you try to add your spouse to your insurance for some reason, it goes up like $1,000 a month. So I just went and still got my own self-employed insurance, which isn't the best, but it is what it is. It's just part of it. So um, to get back to the question, I think what I did to prepare mostly was just live well within our means. The house that we were living in at the time, our mortgage was with escrow. It's crazy to say, but our mortgage with escrow was $1,052. Um, I haven't gotten a new truck in almost 6 years now. So, and it's not a new truck. It's a reasonable truck. Having a low car payment. Diana's car at the time she had had for 4 years, and it was a reasonable car, low car payment as well for her, and really just kept our expenses down. So really, that's it. You just have to really live within your means. You can't go out and we never go and eat out or things like that. People don't just because I worked at the credit union. I used to see it all the time. People don't realize when you go out to eat, you're spending $100 a meal 2 to 3 times a week. You're spending $200 to $300 a week on meals that you could have eaten at home. Times that by 4 weeks in a month. Now you've spent an extra $1,000. Times that by a year. Now you're spending 10 to 12 grand just going out to eat. So we would always go out to eat. I mean, just we were penny pinchers. Even my parents laughed at us, and we still do shop at Aldi's. But we shopped at Aldi's, bargain anything we could. Was definitely not top of the line, and I probably haven't bought a new pair of shoes or boots or anything in the past. I don't even know 5 or 6 years. So just living well within your means is a huge plus. Don't go out and buy that. You don't need a Mustang GT. You can take the V6 or things like that. You just have to live within your means to prepare for the future. Um, did that answer your question? I don't even remember what your question was. I was rambling.
No, I think,
Prepare. Yes, yes, that's what we did. I mean, we just always lived well within our means. So, uh,
yeah, I mean, honestly, I think, I resonate a lot with everything you said. on my side of the story too, when I answer that question, I do think a lot of it is living within your means is the biggest thing. Um, I mean, I remember getting out of the military, not having an income, and then jumping into real estate. And then whenever, I mean, eventually, I mean, if you watch episode one, I can kind of highlight on how I made money in real estate until I made the jump. But whenever I did make the jump, one of the things, and just like you said, that made it feel a lot more comfortable was, my wife did work. She didn't work full time because she only worked, 8 to 12, and she didn't make a ton of money, but she made enough to where it was like worst case scenario. If I make $0, our mortgage will get paid. And that was the only debt we had, was our mortgage. So that was the biggest thing, is controlling your debt. Um,
Yeah, I think your wife had her car, I think ever since I've known her. What, 8 years
yeah, she's been really good about keeping her car, and me not so good. I think
now?
I'm so bad with cars.
But you've never, I mean, you had your rule, even with the truck, I think your rule was you'll never spend more than 30,000, right? Or that was your old rule.
That was my old rule, but we have not had car payments.
Yeah,
So whenever we buy cars, we pay cash for them,
yeah.
because those car payments will eat you alive. And then we bought a new house too, but our mortgage used to be, like it all came down to, like, yeah, controlling your bills, you right. And then, but we did start kind of upgrading some things. We bought a new house. But that was, which I'll segue into that maybe in episode 3 or maybe tonight. I don't know yet. But whenever we bought our current house, we actually gained a lot of equity, which allowed me to go flip more houses with. And it was actually an amazing opportunity for that.
So
But I mean, it
you're saying
was,
that you did a home equity loan? I'm kind of jumping ahead.
yeah, we did get a home equity line of credit.
Okay, so perfect. That we'll talk about that later, but that's a
Yeah.
great way for people to explore different options of getting capital to start doing what they want to do. But
Yeah,
we'll
for
talk
sure.
about that later.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's an amazing tool to use. Absolutely. But another big thing for me, and this was kind of not so much when I left my 9 to 5, but more so when I got out the military, because whenever you go into a career where you are based at 1099, independent contractor, you do not have health insurance. And I left them, the Navy, giving me everything's paid for.
Yeah.
To, hey, rude awakening. You're about to pay about $500 a month for health insurance. Plus, whenever you go to the doctor, it's not covered. That's with a high deductible plan. So it's
Yeah.
like it's a quick learning curve, which are some other cool things we can talk about that too to help you set up for success. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I mean, what I did before I made the jump, I mean, our bills were already low because I already, my goal was to only have real estate debt, period. We did save up some money, so I had in an account like an emergency fund. We do follow Dave Ramsey. We don't follow everything he says. Um, I don't believe all debt is bad. That's just me. But we followed his emergency plan rules, so we had more than 6 months expenses saved up, just in case, just to make me feel comfortable. Um, we had that in place. And like I said, the only debt we have is our house. So I felt safe. I was like, if I can't make it in 6 to 8 months, then I'm not gonna make it. And with my background, I felt like if I had to and I was willing to, I would just go get a normal job. But
Yeah,
I wanted to bet on myself once. But hey, if I don't try one time, I'll regret it. So that's
absolutely.
kind of what I did. We didn't really shop anywhere cheap. I mean, I think I'm the shopper in the family. I think Renee's more content. I'm always
I'm
buying
a
stuff.
shopper as well. I enjoy shopping. I think I got that from my mom. I remember when I used to go to Kroger with her, and I actually enjoyed doing that. That was kind of our thing. And I don't know why, but I just picked that up from my mother, shopping with her. So I am the shopper as well. But
Yeah. It's
so
you mentioned Aldi's though, because
Aldi.
Aldi's, we have an Aldi's here, and I saw it and I was like, we should try this Aldi's. So we go there one day, Saturday, and we go there. walk in, and I didn't know you have to put a quarter in to get a
Yeah,
card.
bring your own quarter, bro.
Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? I didn't have a quarter. I had a $10 bill. I had to go next door, break a $10 bill to get a quarter to
No,
shop.
buddy. If it's your first time there, you can go up to the cashier and ask for a quarter.
Well, I did not do that.
So,
I was
anyways,
so I was like, we're not going back to Aldi.
um, what was I gonna say? Okay, so backtracking, when you're talking about preparing, and it just kind of hit me. Another huge thing, obviously, is already getting out there and exploring, like networking, right?
Mm.
Knowing people. Um, so, uh, and just so people know, they can't see the time, but when we're talking about side hustles, right now it is 10:32 at night. Kyle's kids are sleeping, my kids are sleeping. So whenever you get home and you want to do a side hustle, one thing to prepare is you can't go and sit on the couch, right? You can't go and do whatever you're going to normally do. Go watch your shows, go watch your favorite shows, go watch your Yellowstones and all of that. No, you got to keep going. Once you get home, it's not break time. Once you get home, it's work time. So, anyways, that's another thing to prepare for sure is that you can't be lazy. There's no such thing as being lazy.
Yeah,
Because I promise you, if you're not working at it, your competitor, the person next to you is working harder than you, and they're not sleeping. So that's another thing with getting prepared is you got to get used to working. But as they say, I'd rather work for myself 80 hours a week than work for someone else 40 hours a week, right? And that's how I feel. So
yeah, I feel the same way, Blake. And I mean, what you're saying is 100% true. And I did the same thing. Like, and that kind of is a segue into our next question, which I guess I can just go ahead and answer first. But it's, how did we get started in real estate and flipping houses or our respective careers? And I think for me, it was exactly what you said. It was, I prepared before I left. Before I had made the jump, I did prepare. One of the first things I did, and this is kind of a cool story, kind of crazy, but I downloaded, I went on my app store on my phone. I downloaded this app called Meetup, and it's just, I guess it's just meetups everywhere in your local community for whatever topics you want to go talk about. But I downloaded it and I put real estate investing. So that popped up as Clarksville Real Estate Investment Group meeting at Shoney's at like 6 o'clock. So I roll up to the Shoney's, right? Not knowing any. I was like bright eyed and bushy tailed, didn't know a thing about. I was just showing. I had like, man, I wore my nice pants. I had my shirt tucked in. I was like, look at all, yeah, nice, right? So I go there and there's like 8 people there, and they look like the most normal people you could imagine. And I'm like, what? What am I? Why did I do this?
well, in your respect, it is always better, in my opinion, to be overdressed and over
Well,
prepared.
I didn't overdo. I mean, I was wearing like a shirt like this, but it was
Ah,
like
dude, that's okay. I mean, that's what
I was like khaki pants, tucked in belt, and all that.
no
Whatever.
big, bro.
I roll in there like that, like not knowing a thing. And we eat at Shoney's, and it was just we all sat at a table, we all ordered dinner, we ate, and everybody talked. Right? I didn't know anybody, and I was just quiet. I was like, man, what am I doing? But what was cool? So the guy who sat right across from me, right? I won't say his name on the podcast because I haven't got his permission, but I still talk to that guy to this day, and he's become like a big mentor in my life. Really cool guy. But he's sitting there with his wife, and they're talking with everybody else, and I'm just sitting there. And then they eventually start talking to me, and I tell them how I want to flip houses and get my real estate license and all this stuff. And they're like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna give you some CDs. So whenever we leave, they hand me like a stack of CDs. Is like this woman, her name was Robin Thompson, and she was a woman on the CDs, and I started listening to them.
What are these CDs you speak of?
Well, they were like
I'm,
marketing, like it was
I'm kidding.
basically,
I'm kidding. It's just CDs. What are those, right? Like, what is this,
No, it
1998?
was old school. I mean, if you gave them to them now, it's like our cars don't even have CD players. Like
I
we're
know,
go,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Well, mine does because it's old.
but yeah, no, I started listening to them, and you know, honestly, I didn't listen to them all. I only listened to the first one because that's all it took. I listened to one CD, and I started doing exactly what that CD said to do, and then within a month, I had my first real estate deal. Boom,
There you go.
got it. And then I was like, I don't need the other CDs, but which is probably dumb.
What if
But
you listen to all of them? What if you already had 20 real
I
estate
still
deals?
have them somewhere. I still have them. I should listen to them
You
all.
know, what's actually funny is that my dad gave me a whole bunch of CDs probably about a year ago, and I actually did listen to them. And that my radio in my truck has not worked for probably 4 years, and I don't care. It bothers everyone else but not me because when I get in my truck, I'm rather listening to some sort of podcast or the CDs, right? I don't listen to the radio. If you're in your car, that is a great time to really get some work in. Listen to a book, listen to a podcast, listen to a CD. I mean, don't sit there and listen to the same song you've heard 100 times. Go get some information and some education while you're in your car. It's a great time to get some education. So, anyways, I my radio has not worked in 4 years, seriously, and I don't care. But
And
anyways, the point I was getting at is that Sutton hates riding in my car, and he knows that he calls them Papal CDs because my dad gave them to me, and he thinks they're so boring. But anyways,
that's
all right,
funny.
go ahead, man.
No, but yeah, I started listening to those CDs, and I got my first deal, and then I kept doing it, and it was over from there basically. I mean, there was some setbacks in between and stuff like that, but I mean, that's how I got started. And what was awesome and kind of humbling is like the people, the most successful people you meet in real estate, high level of success, they are so willing to give back and humble and just the opposite of what you would imagine in your mind. If you know what I mean, like,
Yeah,
and that's what's cool. For at least the people I've met here in my town, they've been amazing in helping me and supporting me and everything like that. And and they're still supporting me. Like even like I said, the guy that was sitting across from me, like he's still, I talk to him probably once a week. So
yeah. So what you're saying is you had to put your big boy pants on, go do something out of your comfort zone,
yeah.
and that's what got your whole career started. You just happened to download an app, go eat, and
Yeah.
that got you going.
Well, it only takes one. Only takes
Yeah,
one. I got lucky my first time. I should probably keep doing it. Because imagine if you keep doing it
I
and
know
then you
that. Yeah,
2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys,
yeah,
100 people, and they live all across the United States, then how powerful are you? It's
yeah.
all about who you know for sure.
I know that. I think that's the thing that people always say it's all about who you know. Well, you can go and get to know. I've gone to real estate meetups as well. You
Mm,
and these some of these have been, yeah, like you said, 8 people, and some of these have been 100 people.
yeah.
Um, so get out there and go shake some hands. It is awkward, and yeah, you walking in by yourself. So bring a buddy if you want to. Like my insurance agent, he's always down to go to meetups with me and things like that. Or like you said, his wife was there. Bring your wife, bring your buddy, but don't bring your buddy and then sit there and go talk to your buddy the whole time. Y'all, go talk to people.
Yeah. I think that's why you should go by yourself. Just go there, not know anybody.
And
You know,
that works as well. But I'm saying if you are super, super, super shy, just
yeah.
go bring someone with you. But
Yeah.
don't sit there in the corner and y'all talk the whole time. Y'all got to go out and shake some hands.
Yeah, exactly.
So, um, but yeah, I guess how I got started in real estate, which I went over pretty heavily in the last one, but like I said, I just happened to wind up in it. Went to work at the credit union and wound up in mortgages, and then thought, well, this real estate stuff's pretty cool, so got my real estate license. Um, and I guess how I really got started was I just happened to work at the credit union for 3 years in mortgages, in the mortgage department. So after that, as we talked about last time, I got out. I left there in 2020 when rates were, high twos, low threes. And I just pretty much went around all friends and family and all the people I knew. And we're like, hey, rates are extremely, extremely low. I can probably save you a couple $100 a month if you haven't refinanced, in the past year or two. And that's really what got me started. Was luckily there was a refi boom, and that really helped me out. And then from there, obviously, the more people you help, the more people tell other people, and that's just how you build your pipeline. So I don't have a cool story like you. I didn't go to eat dinner or anything. I just happened to fall in my lap of a job that I wasn't even thinking about doing. Honestly, I applied for a financial job at the credit union, and they turned me down. They said I didn't have enough experience. And a few months later, they had an opening in mortgage, and I didn't even apply. They actually brought me into the office and said, "Hey, they're wanting to move you over here. You okay with that?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? Yeah." So I don't have a cool story. It just happened to happen, and then the refi boom happened, and once you help out 50 people or so, and your name kind of gets out there, and well, you know what? I take that back. I have had to do some uncomfortable stuff. I've had to go talk to realtors and go to their office and bring them donuts and give my little spiel about how great I am and all of that stuff. So I've done that. But
Mm. Yeah.
anyways,
Another thing that whenever I was getting started too, like I did go to the real estate meeting. I started listening to CDs. I started doing what they said. But I don't want people to think that happened immediately overnight, right? It didn't. It took a while, but I felt like I was taking action. I was doing something to move forward with what I really wanted to do. But another funny kind of story, not really funny, but I met with another. So in the Clarksville Real Estate Investment Group, there's a Facebook group. I joined it. There was a leader of the group. You know how every group on Facebook has a leader, and or whoever's a
and they have
meet.
to accept you into the group and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones in charge of
Yeah.
your posts and all that. So I messaged one of them. I was like, "Hey, I will go paint your house for free. I will go." I was like, "I will go do all this work on any of your houses for free if you'll like teach me how to flip houses." So he was like, he messaged me. He's like, "Let's just have lunch." So then I go meet up with this guy to have lunch. I was like super nervous. So I go meet up with him, and dude, that's like he was so humble. He was offering to buy me the lunch, and I paid for it and everything. But like that interaction as well. I mean, that guy I still talk to all the time today. It's like those the positions you put yourself in to get out of your comfort zone, to go and just put yourself out there and be vulnerable, even if you don't know what you're doing. I feel like you gain so much from that. You
Yeah.
know, and that's just twice that I've done it, two examples, and both times I walked away with like lifelong, life-changing relationships from both of those, you know.
So let me ask you this. Have you read any real estate books or any sort of self-help books or anything like that?
So
And it's okay if you haven't. That's
I'm
fine.
really bad. Well, I'm really good at picking up a book with the intention to read the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I'm really good at reading two chapters.
All
And
right.
like I'm done.
So in your opinion, just get out there and meet people. Don't waste your time reading the self-help. It's good to do.
Yeah,
Keeps your
I'm a
motivation.
fan of Audible. Audible is good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you're in the car, yeah, just
I'm not so good at sitting down and reading, but yeah, I mean, I am a huge fan of. I mean, you hear it all the time. Your network is your net worth, which is sounds bad sometimes, like a
but
bad thing to say, but I mean, it is true. Like the people you surround yourself with is who you become. So
yeah,
like, but to me, like my goal, and it wasn't about the net worth. My goal was I want to find the people who are doing what I want to do and figure out how to do it. It just happened to be that they were wealthy, had money, and I mean, of course they do. They're super successful, you know, and that's just the way it works. I mean,
yeah. Like they say, don't reinvent the wheel. Just go find someone who's already done it and do what they do. And that's what you did.
And what is also insane is like I met these people probably 3, 4 years ago, but dude, and they're so much more successful now. It's just like it's like mind blowing. It's like holy cow, like you're like legit.
So let me ask you this then. Let's say we have a person on here who's been on the edge of, all right, let's do it, let's not do it, of leaving their 9 to 5 and pursuing their dreams. Doesn't have to be in real estate. Let's just say they want to, I don't know, cut hair, open up a restaurant, open up a food truck, go start up a small business, whatever. What would you tell them?
Man, it's a loaded question, Blake.
So
I mean,
what would you tell someone who wants to pursue that? Leave their
number
9 to 5.
number one thing I would tell them is like do not give up on your if that's what you want to do, whatever it is, then you need to not give up and figure out a way to do it. Number one. And that sounds kind of cliche, but I mean like you might have to keep working at your job for a while, right? And you might have to work there for 3, 4, 5 years before you can leave and go work full time. And if it's not something you're passionate about, then you're gonna give up.
So,
So
so just like you and I did, when I was still at the credit union, I went out, got my real estate license, did
yeah.
a couple deals, just like you did when you were working at the office. You started doing a couple flips, right?
Mhm.
So we were still at our jobs, that we were still pulling in money, but late at night or whatever, we started our other job
Yeah.
and kind of pursued that.
Yeah, I think that's the key. And I think so Gary V even talks about that too. He's always talking about, hey, if you find, your passion and what you really want to do, he's like, don't go home after you're making someone else a bunch of money and sit on the couch. Go work for yourself. If you get off at 5, work for yourself 3 or 4 hours a night and then relax. If you're not ever putting in work for yourself and you're only making money for the man, then you're never going to be able to leave. You got to put in some sort of effort to escape. It's not just going to happen on its own. So that's another thing. I mean, I would say to somebody is like, you know, make sure you're passionate about what you want to do. Because if it's not a passion, if you're chasing money, and I talked about in episode 1 too, you're going to fail and you're going to give up. If you're passionate about it, you'll stay with it. And then number 2 would be like work on it when you're not working. And it's hard. It's especially if I mean, I can't imagine doing it now. I got lucky when we didn't have kids. Like I can imagine having kids and then having to figure that out or it'd
Yeah,
be
because when you get home and
stress.
then you got 3 or 4 more hours with
I don't
your,
know if I could do it,
yeah,
honestly. I'd be
you'd be
I'd
worn
be
out.
more worried about providing for them than I would be pursuing my own dreams.
Yeah, but
So
yeah,
I mean, it's
but
hard. So I mean, you gotta want it. You gotta want to do it.
yeah, you might have to drink some coffee at 9 o'clock at night and put your head down and get to the books. But
Yeah. But
um,
the last thing I would say is just like we already talked about, like your budget has to be good. You
yeah,
can't be driving a car that is $800 a month payment or having this. You got to live within your means. You have to. If you're not, then you can't make the jump. There's no way because you're gonna be a slave to your job. If you have too many bills that have to be paid, you have to work. You can't afford to take 2 or 3 months with no money. Because when you make the jump, it ain't immediate. It's not.
so you would say first get you a little, what are they called, goose eggs or whatever, a little savings that can provide. Is that what it's called? No, that's a zero. Is it a nest egg?
Nest egg is like, yeah, your savings.
Nest egg.
Goose egg. That
Oh, a goose egg means zero. Definitely
really
don't
get
get a goose
you
egg.
at home.
Don't get a goose egg. Get a nest egg. I'm trying to say all these terms. I should just stick with the new terms. I'm trying to say the old terms. But yeah, get you a little savings and live within your means. Work at it at night. keep your other job, see if it's happening. That's exactly what you and I both did.
Yeah.
So, so any books that you would recommend? Well, I gotta know now. Do you remember the name of the CD that the guy gave you,
Oh man.
or who the woman was? You said it was a woman.
It's Robin Thompson. She's famous. Like if you Google Robin Thompson real estate investor, she will pop up. She has numerous CDs. She speaks all over the country at real estate conferences. Highly recommend you check her out. Now, I don't this was 4 years ago, and to be quite honest, what I was doing was direct mail, but it was a different form of direct mail. It wasn't just a postcard. So there's a lot more things that have come out between now and then that might be a lot more efficient and effective. I am not doing a lot of marketing right now. I am finding deals other ways, so don't take that and run with it. But just something to look into. She might have touched on newer marketing. I don't know. I haven't listened to her in a while, but definitely check her out. If you're just interested in learning anything about real estate, investing, how to find deals, it's a
So
good
then
start.
tell me, what did you hear from that CD that you did that brought you your first deal?
Well, she broke it down like really, really simple, and it's kind of a lot to get into in our little bit of time we have left. But I mean, I can basically what she said to do was send out a personalized letter,
Oh, is that where the
a
letters
horse
you
seed
used
letter.
to tell me about, where you put a picture of your dog as the background and
Exactly. And
okay.
it was like a personalized letter. It was handwritten on the front, hand addressed. So whenever the person got it, it looked like it was a piece of mail directly to them. So they were more likely to open it versus I mean, you get junk mail all the time, Blake, and what do you do with it? You throw it away.
Oh yeah, I'm sure everyone listening to this has received one of those. We buy your house for this much money.
Yeah.
So,
So this was supposed to be like the opposite of that. And it worked. And I got excuse me, a few deals from that. And I just quit doing it because not because it wasn't working. It was because I couldn't buy enough houses to keep up with it. It was like
you
I already
stopped for a
had
good
two
reason.
houses and I was
You were too busy.
marketing. Yeah, I was too busy. And which there's other ways to capitalize on those too. And we can talk about that in another episode, but that's just not my kind of wheelhouse, what I do. But there's a ton of people I know who can
You do
make,
you do multiple flips at once.
well, not just multiple flips, they wholesale houses. So
Oh yeah.
and we can get into wholesaling and what that is and what that means, because I'm sure a lot of people listening probably don't know. But, but that's a whole, I mean, we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk
We
about.
do. We have a whole lot.
We got people to bring on. We got people who are going to blow your minds, blow my mind. And I'm looking forward to that too, because I love getting people in here who are just killing it. And I'm just watching them. And I'm just like a star, like, or a little kid looking at them like, man, I want to be like you. That's what's fun. And they're all so cool and so nice and helpful. So, but we'll get that rolling. But I
So
think
just to give people a little tidbit, now you mostly get your deals from wholesalers, right?
well, yes, wholesalers. And I don't even like, honestly, I think that's because I made an email that has the word home buyers in it, because all of a sudden, once I made that email, dude, I started getting blasted with like deals all the time. But then also like relationships with other wholesalers that I've known since I first started, who have like, they know me now, and they know like, hey, I do buy houses. I may not buy every deal you send me. I'm not a huge buyer. Like I'm not gonna go buy 10 houses at a time, but maybe other 10 deals you send me, I will buy one. So just doing it long enough that people take you seriously. And then when the market shifted, I started getting deals on the MLS too. One of the most profitable deals that I've ever done, I just closed, and it was an MLS deal.
Yeah.
So which is really cool. I'm looking forward to trying to find more of those. That's easy, they're listed.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we have a lot to still talk about. We're just getting on the tip of what we can really dig deep into, of really putting some knowledge out there on what we've both done. And I'm excited. I actually am hoping that soon you can bring some clips of like a day in the life of a investor.
I need to hop on the TikTok for that, bro.
Yeah, a day in the life.
My life is boring. There's nothing fun to watch it about
You
it.
go and you make sure they're hammering the nails straight.
Yeah, well, yes, for that. But we're getting ready to do we've been doing the renovation side, which is a lot more hands-on, a lot more running around, lots of things. It's a big learning curve, but I think bringing value to the community through making people who don't want to go buy a new house but make their current house really nice, which
Oh
is
yeah, I'm excited for you, man, because so we'll really dig into this, but Kyle's gone from flipping houses to now renovating clients' houses to he just got his builder's license, maybe even building his first house in the very near future. So we're about to see some exciting stuff happening.
yeah,
It's
I'll
gonna be
keep you posted. You'll probably find out like live whenever I start that
I
actually.
know it's gonna be fun, man. I'm
You get
excited.
the whole thing. That'd be a really fun thing to do. It'd be
Yeah,
fun. Yeah.
and you can record it, and we can take that journey with you.
Yeah. Oh,
So
cool, man. Well, I think that about wraps up
it does
episode
because we're at a
two
minute. We're at a minute and
of
13 seconds.
yeah, real estate in different states. Episode 2 officially done.
Episode 2.
Up. All right, all right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.